This disclaimer was copied without permission.
Cheers, Quaffers, Wiggles, and all other good people out there, and welcome to my 200 subscriber special. Yay! So I've got my work cut out for me. Originally, I wanted to try out the worst beer that I've ever tried after the success of trying the worst beer I tried the past year. But I couldn't find it anywhere. Obviously, it isn't sold in many places. It should still be available, though. If you ever tried, don't come tell me you weren't warned. But I wanted to do something else that was horrible, but also in the service of mankind, so to say. So I found 2 Danish discount lagers in order to compare them with 2 discount German, well, 1 lager and 1 purported stout. I want to say I tried these 2 before, so I know about what to expect from these. These, however, I haven't tried before. They are, as far as I've been able to Google, made by Carlsberg. It's been a bit tough to get to 200 subscribers, but of course I'm really happy that I have, after all, gone so far. And what I would really like is all of you who click on my videos. I would be so happy if some of you would subscribe so that I can go out to more people, not only with my message about quality in beers, but very much also in the other things I do. More than anything else, the anti-cult activism that I do, particularly about Torben Søndergaard and the Last Reformation. But no more talk, let's get into some probably pretty horrid Danish standard lagers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to crack this over in 2 because I don't want to drink all these beers in one go. I am not that kind of heavy drinker, so this video will be recorded over at least 2 evenings. Yes, I am going to cheat like that because I can. So let's start with Spar Pilsner from Carlsberg. Regular standard lager. Possibly Hallertauer hops, I wouldn't know exactly. And let's compare it right away to the German stuff. This is from Frankfurter Brauerei. I should have looked this up before I started recording. However, it's an industrial brewery situated in Frankfurt an der Oder. That is the other Frankfurt, not the one with the skyscraper skyline. Comparing these 2, the German one seems to smell of a wee bit more, but actually I can't smell either of them anymore for some reason. There's a bit more aroma in the German one. Now let's see which one tastes better, or at least of more, or which one tastes worse. Let's see. Sweetish, maltish, really not that bad. I drink this beer to get drunk, definitely. It's not a horrid experience. It's nothing. It doesn't taste bad, but then again, the taste of nothing isn't a particularly good taste, neither, is it? So Swedish maltish, only vaguely hopsy, a substantial amount of water, and I have to say, water that feels good, soft to the palate. No sort of disturbing synthetic notes. It's actually very clean to the palate, and they should definitely be commended for that. I had expected much worse than this. It'll do on a nice summer day, definitely, and it'll do for a hamburger meal. Okay, so let's see what the Germans can do for us. Auferstanden auf Ruinen. And that's all that I know of that song. So there's a bit more aroma to it. Some woodish notes appearing rather vaguely, but then again pleasantly. The wee bit that they are there, as far as they are there, which is not much, they're definitely pleasant. So some notes of, I would say, birchwood. However, on the other hand, this has a bit of industrialness to it. There's a slight by-taste of metal, slightly metallic in its touch to the palate, which is not good. So this puts me a bit in a dilemma. There's slightly more aroma to this, and it's good aroma than to this one. However, there are also some mildly disturbing taste notes in this one of metal, which there are not in this one. The Danish one is more clean and soft to the palate than the German one. So with the slightest of margins, I would actually say the Danes win round one. Did I mention, by the way, that there are two darkish beers in round two? The Danish one is what we call a classic, which is a Vienna lager, and I bought an Imperial Stout. So we got a Vienna lager against an Imperial Stout, and you may say an Imperial Stout would be much darker and with much more taste than a Vienna lager. However, I know that this particular Imperial Stout, it is really not much of a stout, let alone an Imperial one, so I thought that would be a match for a Danish Vienna lager. These are bought in the German supermarket Spar, which are also found in Denmark. These are bought in the German supermarket Lidl. So all distributed by German supermarkets because reasons. The best reason there is. And when we are not dying of coronavirus, we are being threatened by the Chinese, it seems. Let me just give you my 2 cents on that story. So it has become a news story that a major Danish newspaper issued a cartoon yesterday, which was Monday the 27th, a caricature picturing a Chinese flag where the 5 stars had been replaced with coronavirus. Personally, I find the caricature in pretty poor taste, actually. China has been hit by a catastrophe with potential global repercussions. I don't think it's something to make fun of. And now China, according to Danish media, wants an official apology, not only from the newspaper who brought the caricature, but also from the Danish government. And well, the responses to that have been kind of mixed. The government said, and the newspaper said, no way! First of all, we have a little thing called freedom of speech. And I know how freedom of speech is spent, especially by elites such as the rich people and the powerful, to badmouth the powerless, the penniless, the working class, minority groups, and how freedom of speech is often these days, unfortunately, used as an excuse to mock those groups that are underprivileged and marginalized. This, however, is not a case of that. Even though I find the caricature in really poor taste, still far away from what I find so problematic that it should have, well, repercussions or freedom of speech should be limited. I mean, more than anything else, it actually exposes the newspaper, Jyllandsposten, as being cold-hearted and cynical and not caring about what can actually become not only a Chinese but also a global disaster. And also it's directed against not exactly a minority group, and not exactly anymore, at least, a powerless entity. China is a world power, both when it comes to trade, but also when it comes to military force. And then there's the absolutely insane, immense hypocrisy. I mean, China is a country that still has that not only has the death penalty, but it is using it rather extensively, one would say. Not only when it comes to criminals, but also when it comes to ethnic groups. What they are doing to the Uyghur Muslims and to the Tibetans in terms of transgressing human rights is absolutely abhorrent and appalling. So when the Chinese are asking for an apology because of a friggin' drawing, it just goes to show how insane the hypocrisy and the irony is. But let's say this. This is a proposal from a random guy on the internet who's half pissed on cheap Danish and German lager. How about we say we apologize for the caricatures, China apologizes for the genocide-like treatment of the Uyghurs and the Tibetans, and they also stop those genocides. I think that's a good agreement. Let's say cheers to that. What am I doing? I want to try this because I can. This is the last taste of them to see if this is going to get better. So I put about as much of the German lager into this glass as there was Danish lager before I did it. There you go. And let's see how that works. Last time I did this, it didn't do well for neither of the beers. It doesn't help on the German beer, it doesn't help on the Danish beer. So maybe generally that's just not a thing you want to do. And then again, it's not like it's ruining it completely. I mean, it's so having sex close to water even before, so why even bother? Alright, we are ready to try the next two. So this is a classic lager, or rather a Vienna lager from Carlsberg. I guess it's from the Spar supermarket, as far as I can Google. That's okay. So that was supposed to be a classic lager or a Vienna lager. It actually just sounds like a simple lager like the other one I had before. Now it's too late to check the difference in hue. This is only slightly darker, if at all. So slight hopsy notes, also a bit of malt. More hopsy than I remember this one. But then again, beers like these don't really chisel themselves into your brain, do they? I mean, have you tasted one? Basically, you've tasted many of them. Wouldn't say all, but it's close. So up against that, we have an Imperial Stout, which is not Imperial at all. It's hardly a stout, really. One that I thought would approximately match a Vienna lager, an industrial Vienna lager, but now I have my doubts after all. Let's have a look. So this one is dark-ish, admitted. Nice foam. Nice sweet smells. There's a lot of chocolate, dark chocolate. Some licorice. We love licorice in Denmark. That's why we get along well with the Finns, I think. Okay, so sweet notes first of all, chocolate and licorice, and this is vaguely hopsy with some sweet malt notes. Vienna lagers are typically a bit sweeter than regular pale lagers, But then again, it's all industrial, so it's really all in the minute details. You can find Vienna lagers that are more hopsy than certain pale lagers, and you'll find pale lagers that are more malty than some Vienna lagers. At least when you're in the industrial Bereich. Not much taste, a lot of water. However, the bit of taste that is there seems actually quite well balanced. Yeah, there's a bit of bitter hops and there are slightly more malts to give it a little bit of richness and to give it an admittedly pleasant mouthfeel. But at the end of the day, this is a stale and bland beer experience. But again, I mean, on a hot summer day, or I would say a summer evening rather, because the malt making it a wee bit heavier makes it more of an evening beer than one that we would have during the midday heat. Okay, so for comparison, the alleged Imperial Stout, and I've tried this before, so I know that there's not much Imperial about it, but I'll try to approach it with an as open a mind as I can after it grossly disappointed me when I first tried it. This is awful. Oh no. Cold coffee. Okay, so well, I have to admit one thing. It tastes of more than the Danish Vienna lager, but it tastes much worse. So cold coffee. Cold coffee sweetened with licorice syrup, I'd say. Now, first of all, I don't like my coffee cold. I want it boiling hot, and I prefer it black and not sweetened with anything. Sometimes when I encounter the taste of sweetened coffee in beer, I actually find it pleasant, which I would never if I found the taste of sweetened coffee in my coffee. I would probably spit it all over the place. But this is by no means that experience. This is just no. The cold coffee, and that is by all means thin coffee with some vague licorice syrup added, just doesn't do anything good. It's the same tendency repeating itself. The Danish beer doesn't taste of much, but it's not unpleasant. It's fairly well balanced. There's not so much to balance in it, you could say, so it wouldn't be that hard to balance it. This is actually a pleasant, dull but still pleasant drinking experience from Carlsberg. Well, this small horror, it's going to be a struggle to get through this one. I wouldn't give neither of these any hard recommendations. I mean, in the summer, the Vienna lager will find its uses, but you can find equivalents to it, or you can find other beers that would be always better in those under those circumstances. This one, I don't even really know where to start. It's grossly sweet, while its bitter notes don't do anything good. Also, it's pretty strong. I think it's the amount of alcohol that gives this weird, gross Nebengeschmack of licorice. And even though I like licorice, this just comes in combinations that don't work. Let's oil the gears of life. Privatbrauerei Eichbaum. Oh yeah, that's a brewery. This brewery tries to brand itself as a quality craft brewery, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't really think so. I don't think their beers are good enough to be qualified as craft beers. However, this would be one of the few actual stouts that you can get in German supermarkets. I mean, they have to start somewhere if they want to get on the beer revolution train. At least they're trying something. It's not good. It's not good. Yeah, well, guess I'm stuck with these. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to chunk this down real slow. And I'll keep this for afterwards to kill the awful taste. That's what I'm going to do. So, once again, thank you all for subscribing. The 200, the many of you. At last, it seems like my subscriber count is going the right way, and I'm really happy about that. So, like, comment, subscribe, share. Especially share if you like what I do. And as I always say at the end of my videos, always remember to drink responsibly. And until next time, cheers.
Arrivederci.